Why do people think it's okay to mention someone's weight to them? There's no value, it's not kind, and most of the time it's extremely hurtful. I'm just so confused how a person can walk up to another human being and say things like, you need to lose weight, or you need to eat more, or you need to put meat on those bones. And it's also usually in context to some stereotypical duty that needs to be performed as a woman. So, for example, it's, you're too thin, how are you gonna have kids? Or you need to lose weight, or no one's gonna marry you. And like I mentioned, you need to put meat on those bones because men like women with meat on those bones. Apparently, that's still being said these days. And it's also strange how most of these comments are usually said by women to women. I've also heard things like, that's not the body of a real woman. Well, there's no such thing as body of a real woman. If you know you're a woman and you feel like a woman and you think you're a woman, that's it. There's no such thing as, this is how the ideal woman looks. It's just such a negative and horrible thing to say to someone. Hey everyone, it's Sumi. I know this is a very different video for this channel, but I just wanted to share some of my experiences with you and hopefully it resonates with some of you. This video was also triggered from a not so great experience that I had a couple of days ago. For some context, I grew up listening to things like, you're so skinny, or you're too skinny, and you need to eat more. You're so thin, you look like I could snap you like a twig. Or the classic people putting their hands around my wrists and having a good laugh about how thin I am, and so on and so forth. It's not like I choose to recycle these thoughts in my head over and over. But as you may have realized with some of the things in your own lives, that it's really hard to move past harsh comments and criticism, especially when it's unsolicited. So just recently, it was Diwali, and 2 days before Diwali, my parents decided to invite some of the friends that they had made at the local temple over for lunch. These are people that I haven't really interacted with much, ever. For some additional context, my parents are visiting my husband and I, and so we're all staying together for a bit. That's all the context. So they've invited these people, and we're all very excited. My mom and I make a bunch of yummy foods for our guests. I am all dressed up, and I feel really good. And we welcome our guests into our house. And this woman just comes up to me, and it's been maybe like 2 minutes of our interaction. And she says, why is your face so gaunt? Why do you look impoverished? Are you malnourished? You need to eat more. And this is someone I'm meeting literally for the second time in my life. And the first time I did not even interact with this person. It was just a hi, hello sort of chat. And the 2 minutes was the most that I've ever spoken to this person. And she brings up these things, not knowing anything about me. Hearing these comments, her friend decides to join in and starts giving me advice about how I need to eat more and how I need to be eating more fatty foods and fried foods, and I need to put on more weight, or else how am I going to have kids now that I'm married? I just stood there, dumbfounded, quiet, because it's been 5 minutes and I didn't want to create a scene. So I just let it go. I was like, okay, forget it. They also don't know that I have a food channel and that I think about food all day, every day. I love my food. I love to eat food. I've just been a skinny baby and I used to have issues eating as a toddler. And I think that's why it's really, really hard for me to put on weight. And that's why I remained skinny and short. Putting on or losing weight is also a complex and not a linear process. It's not like eat more and you'll put on weight, or eat less and you'll lose weight. There's often a lot of psychosomatic aspects to it. Some people put on weight when they're stressed. Some people, like me, lose weight when we're stressed. So you just don't know what someone is going through, especially when it comes to weight. So we move on with our day, and we have lunch and desserts, and then someone brings up that, oh, it's time to put on mehndi or henna, as apparently that was part of the plan for the day. I start avoiding it because I know, just hearing these interactions, I was like, okay, there's going to be some comment about my hand or my wrist. So I keep saying no, that I don't want to do this, that I have work to do. And they were like, no, you at least have to put henna on one hand. I was like, okay, fine, one hand. And as expected, the friend of the woman who called me impoverished offers to put henna on my hand. So I sit in front of her. She takes my hand in her hand and comments about how thin my wrist is and how small my hands are. Again, I choose to ignore it. She's like, okay, I'm gonna look for designs on my phone and you can pick what you like. And I said, sure. As she's looking for designs, she goes, oh, I have no idea what to pick because all of these designs are for people with larger hands and you have such small hands. I don't know how I'm going to fit a design on it. And I'm just confused because firstly, I have pretty large hands, but also I don't think size of a hand has anything to do with design of henna or mehndi. Once again, I'm like, whatever, I just want to get this over with. And she keeps doing the henna and keeps commenting about how I'm too skinny and blah blah blah. And she's finally done with one side. And I tell her I don't want the other side, I don't want the other hand, I have a lot of work, I need to leave. So all of that happens. I tell my husband I am not okay here. So I just change my clothes and we just leave for a cafe where I got a London fog and a bunch of goodies because that's what I do when I'm sad or happy. I am just so confused about how a person thinks it's okay to walk up to another human being and tell them that they're too skinny or that they need to lose weight. One, you don't know what they're going through. The second thing is they know that they're skinny or that they need to lose weight. Or maybe they're very happy with how they look and now you've put unnecessary thoughts into their heads. We need to realize that we are way more than the size and shape of our bodies. I know it's so cliche, but clearly it's still going on. Women are still discussing their weight and the shape of their arms and legs literally within the first few minutes of a social interaction. I have made it very clear with my friends that this is not something I ever want to talk about. I have mentioned it that it makes me highly uncomfortable to hear anything that's in reference to the size or shape of my body, whether it's good or bad. It just doesn't make me feel good. And we have this policy amongst ourselves that we're not going to comment on how someone looks. If we want to compliment someone, we'll be like, oh wow, I really like your eyeshadow, or I like how you've done your hair, or I like how you've put your outfit together, or that sweater looks really comfy. But we just try to stay away from mentioning anything to do with weight because most of the time it's extremely triggering. And whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. This is not about skinny or overweight. This is just about not bringing up anything to do with how someone's body looks because it's just not valuable feedback. What are you going to do with that? I'm happy to say that I was comfortable enough to bring this up to my friends, that I don't want to talk about weight, I don't want to discuss weight, and we've all stuck to that rule really well because I really used to be so nervous about meeting certain people because I knew what was coming. I'm of Indian origin and I grew up in the Middle East, and I've noticed that it's way more prevalent within these communities to just talk about weight like it's nothing, but it's not nothing. It's hurtful and it really needs to stop. I'm still thinking of a way of how to respond to someone when they say something that's unsolicited or just rude. I was thinking of, should I ask them to elaborate about how skinny I am or why they think my face looks gaunt and to describe the details of how gaunt my face is. But I don't know because usually I just go quiet when someone says something like that to me because it's just so jarring, especially because I don't say such things to anyone. And I've also made sure that no one in my friend circle does, and we're all just so much happier and mentally healthier for it. Well, I just want to let you know that it really doesn't matter how heavy or light you are, as long as you're healthy and happy and surrounded by people who are kind, you're good. That was my rant, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.